Hello, how are we doing? Okay, so today I have a kettlebell swing tutorial for you to check out. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like first, and then we'll break it down and talk about all the reasons why you should have a go at the kettlebell swing, why you should be doing it. So, I'm just going to demonstrate with this 8 kg. The first thing I would mention is that I've just done my own workout, so I'm nice and warm. I wouldn't just come in and just pick up the biggest, heaviest kettlebell and start swinging it around. So I'm just going to use this 8 kg. Just demonstrate what this kettlebell swing looks like. 1, 2. And there we go. So, why the kettlebell swing? Well, if you was looking for one single exercise that would help build strength, it's going to work your cardiovascular system, it's going to strengthen your heart, it's going to work conditioning, endurance, there's, as I mentioned, strength, especially when you start swinging and going through the bigger, heavier weights, start swinging those around. All of this is going to boost your metabolism, so you're going to be burning fat. But what, apart from all of those benefits, what if there was one single exercise that would counterbalance hours spent sat down for long periods, hunched over in flexion? Now this is flexion, and this is extension. So we sit for long periods, sat down, hunched over. What you'll find is the hips get tight, the glutes switch off, which can lead to all kinds of imbalances, usually back pain. As you can see, the hamstrings are tightening up as well. So all this kind of stuff leads to aches and pains and so on. Now, with this kettlebell swing, not only is it going to do all those benefits I've just listed, but it brings us up into extension. Now, kettlebell swing is the foundational exercise because the majority of all the main ones as well come from this kettlebell swing. So there are two main variations. You've got the squat style and the hinge style. Now neither's wrong, but there's reasons for both. The squat style, the problem with the squat style is you're going to basically burn your thighs out quite quick. So let me just break this down. I don't want to go through this too much because you can check out, obviously, online guides. You know exactly what to do. You've got all your tutorials, alignments. You've got your bespoke online training schedule, training app there. But squat versus the hinge. Now this is a squat. We're going to sit back, weight onto the heels, drive up through the heels, tense your butt, you push through into extension. You can see that there. And if you just tense your butt, you'll automatically push your hips through anyway. So we've got the squat and we've got the hinge. Now on the hinge, I hinge from the hips, chin up, glutes back. I can feel that stretch in my hammies already. However, I won't be swinging a big weight straight legged. So from this hinge position, I just put a slight bend in my knees, and that's the starting point for the kettlebell swing. But the problem is, the majority of people cannot squat, so they hinge. So when they go to squat, they sit back and they end up hinging. And the reason is because they have all these imbalances for long periods doing this. So this is why the hinge style is great, because it will counterbalance all that long periods of sat down, hunched over. And another thing to consider is, as well, when you do a squat style, as opposed to a hinge style, hinge, squat, what you'll find is your thighs will burn off quite quick. So if we're looking for work capacity, because that's the goal, you want to work these things, these kettlebells, they're great for 10, 15, 20-minute total body strength and conditioning, offer a bigger bang for your buck. You'll burn, you'll build a strong, athletic, agile, pain-free body. And it all comes back to what it is you want. It's a lot more functional element. It crosses over to sports, everyday activities, as opposed to just doing like isolated bicep curls and so on and so forth. But it all comes back to what it is you want and why. Now, if you're doing heavy lifting, that's great. But if you threw in a few kettlebell swings, you'll see a big difference. But also with these squats, as mentioned, the majority of people cannot squat. So what you'll tend to find is gyms all around the world, you see people with weight plates under their heels to be able to keep that squat alignment. Now, realistically, if you're struggling with aches and pains and imbalances, why would you then head to the gym, pick up the biggest, heaviest weight on your back, and then just add to these imbalances? Common sense would say iron out all those problems first, and you'll find that all your performance and strength gains will all be so much easier. So the key is the hinge style. Now, in this hinge position, I want to make sure I've not rounded my back into flexion, so straight away I want to take care of the lumbar vertebrae, this lower back. So we've got, again, online guys, you've got your alignments. You can check out some of those alignment videos if you're watching here for the first time. But the quick, brief thing to think about, quick tip, 4 points. So if you think shoulder, hip, hip, shoulder. So if you're standing with poor posture, your posture's crap anyway, think about your 4 points, square them up. And if you do that a few times throughout the day anyway, if you spend long periods sat down, just take a moment, square your 4 points up, get into the habit of doing that. It becomes second nature, and over time you'll find that that would be very beneficial anyway. So from this position, hinge from the hips, bend the knees, take the pressure off. 4 points, kettlebell there. As mentioned, if I push that reverse swing, push that back, I can feel that elongation in my hamstrings. I'm going to keep my forearms connected to my thighs, triceps connected to my chest, and I drive up, tense my butt, push through, arms are still connected, the arms are just an afterthought, they come up at the end. So I'm not swinging from my back, it's all hips and glutes. And that is the powerhouse. Walking, running, striking, all these kind of things. And as mentioned, if you sat on them all day, doing this kettlebell swing, you'll really activate these glutes. You'll hit all this posterior chain, which is usually very difficult to do. And again, most people, mainly guys as well, will just train that front line, what they can see. Ego training, chest, biceps, and they neglect the back. More aches and pains, more imbalances. So from this position, backswing is important. We don't want that kettlebell flapping around, whacking us on the arse. We push back. That extra elongation, I'm connected. Body as a lever, drive up. The arms are just an afterthought. Okay, so from there, the key is this is the kettlebell hang position, because the kettlebell will be hanging. I keep it very close to the groin. Now if I start dropping it below the knees, that's going to encourage that flexion or rounded back. Whereas if it's nice and close, I'm going to stay in that hinge, and I can drive it up, keep that connection, that inertia it's called, so your pendulums go in. If I haven't got that inertia, that connection, as in my forearms are connected to my body, I'm swinging from my back. Even if you've got a good hinge, as you go through those weights, so we want that connection. The body is the lever, the hips and butt do the work, not your back. Okay, so the best way to start this hinge style swing is to take one step back, find your hinge, find your position, grip the kettlebell. Now, I may need to come forward a little bit so you see. Rounded back, 4 points, drive that back, 1, keep it nice and connected, nice and close to the groin, not flapping around, drive it up, body is the lever, 1, 2. So as I drive it up, obviously gravity is going to do its job, it's going to drive back down, which is why we need to be aware of that backswing. So you've got to focus on what you're doing back here and up here. 1, 2, 1, 2. Nice and close to the groin. And with regards to breathing, there's 2 exhales to 1 swing. Now you're going to breathe anyway, the point is you're breathing. But as we move forward onto these longer workouts, as mentioned, where we're working up, building up our strength, conditioning, endurance, what we want to try and do is avoid hyperventilating. We want intensity, but we want controlled intensity. We don't want, that subconscious chronic state of panic. That's what's happening there. So we want to control that breathing. And if you focus on 2 exhales, you'll naturally inhale, and you'll avoid that. So it'll be a bit more controlled. Nice and close to the groin, as opposed to rounding, dropping it below the knees. Keeping that inertia, keeping that connection. Body is the lever, hips and glutes. And obviously with the kettlebell, centre of mass is out there. So as it's out, it's like swinging a tin of paint around. So as that tin of paint comes up, all the centre of mass of the weight is out there, weight distribution. So you've really got core stability to stay there. You're going to hit this posterior chain, you're going to activate all the glutes and so on. So, you can do this with, if you haven't got a kettlebell, it can be done with a dumbbell. It's the same principle. If the weight's that way, the weight distribution is laterally. I'll pull it out there. This is only a light one anyway. But the point is, if you're doing this with a dumbbell, put that weight, that centre of mass out. Same principle. 1, 2. So this is why I like the hinge style. It's great to start and stop. You don't have to worry about that pendulum. Get in trouble, you can just put it down. It kind of encourages the correct technique, as opposed to sort of like, well, I want to do the swing style, for example. Again, it's not wrong, but it's just, as mentioned, it'll just burn your thighs out really quick. So I might have to pick that up. I mean, I could do it from a hinge, but that's more of a squat style. So straight away I can feel my thighs already. And then to put it down, you know, imagine you've got a big weight there and you've got to stop that pendulum on your back and then put it down. What you want is a nice, smooth pendulum. So you can work up through the weights. So it looks like this. Hinge, this is 16 kilos now. Hinge, bent knees, 4 points, drive that weight back close to the groin and connected. Drive it up, find your extension, activate your glutes. So every time you come up, tense your butt, tense your abs, brace for impact. Look, someone's trying to push you over. Now watch this backswing as the kettle comes down. I'm going to demonstrate not what to do, what not to do, sorry. I was flapping around, whacking me on the butt, pulls you out of alignment, push it back, 1, 2, backswing, 1, 2. Back to the floor. So from that hinge, I bring it back, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's just a good thing, a good little drill that we start with. Just do one swing. Swing it back. 1, 2, 1, 2. So that kettlebell should finish, start and finish in exactly the same place. So instead of being on top of it, I take one step back. If I was on top of it, straight away I've got a round. Take one step back. I'm going to hinge. I'm going to reach. 1, 2, 1, 2. Kettlebell's doing the work, hips and glutes are doing the work, not my lower back. And here we go, this is the heaviest kettlebell I have here at the studio, just a 20. But I've got heavier ones. So, demonstrate with the 20. Now, as mentioned, you get that technique down, all hips and glutes. You know, I've got ladies train with me, majority of my people are guys, but my body and mind program works for ladies as well. And I've got petite little ladies and they can swing 20, 24 kilos around because it's a technique. That's picking it up, putting it down. Reset that back, very important if you've got tight hammies. From this angle, close to the groin, hinging, back down. Now, as mentioned, that's 20 kilos. If I start dropping that below the knees, start rounding, not connected, no inertia, connected, as opposed to just swinging from the back, connect, drive up, and there it is, that's the kettlebell swing. So as mentioned, that is key points. Hinge, 4 points, inertia, connection, body is the lever, back swing, and breathing. And there you have it. So give it a go, kettlebell swing. And if you like this one, let me know how you get on with it. You can also check out your very first kettlebell workout, body and strength and conditioning workout. I've got loads on my, loads backed up there. But if you get this kettlebell swing down, this will be a nice progression for you, and you can crack on with building a strong, athletic, agile, pain-free body. So until the next time, I'll catch you later.